SpectrumTV, broadening your horizon.
Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 12. I am Francis Adate, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari approved February 2022 for APC National Convention. OSINBAJO advocates more resources for research in higher institutions. Wikusen parade incident driver to be charged with homicide. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in our news today is a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved February 2022 for the conduct of the National Convention of the All Progressive Congress APC. Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and Kebbi State Governor Atiku Bagadu announced this while addressing State House correspondents after a meeting with the President at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Bagadu said the meeting was to brief the President and get his approval on the decision of the Progressive Governors Forum in an earlier meeting for the convention to take place in February 2022. He, however, stated that the party's leadership was yet to decide on a specific date to conduct its national convention. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on African leaders to support First Ladies towards advancing peaceful coexistence. The President stated these while declaring open the 9th General Assembly of the African First Ladies Peace Mission, convened yesterday by his wife AISHA Buhari at the State House in Abuja. The Nigerian leader expressed concern that peace had allegedly become an elusive subject affecting development in many regions of Africa. Observing that women and children were the most affected by the breakdown of peace across the world, President Buhari expressed hope in the African First Lady's ability to take actions needed to restore serenity among the people. Meanwhile, the 9th General Assembly of the African First Ladies Peace Mission have unanimously elected Nigerian President's wife AISHA Buhari as the new president. In our acceptance speech, the Nigerian First Lady pledged to execute her new responsibility with commitment, urging her colleagues to work in unison towards a glorious destiny for Africa. On his part, President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated his wife for acquiring a piece of land on behalf of all First Ladies for the development of a secretariat for the mission in Abuja. In another development, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and civil society organizations are asking President Muhammadu Buhari to sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Recall that the National Assembly had passed the bill and transmitted the document to President Buhari on November 19th for assent. During an election town meeting, the Executive Director, Policy and Legal Advocacy Center, Clement Nwankwo, advised the President to use the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting to sign the bill in the interest of all Nigerians. Similarly, the INEC National Commissioner, Festus Okoye, said assent to the bill would improve the electoral umpire's preparations for future polls. In education, Vice President Yemi OSINBAJO has made a case for provision of additional resources for higher institutions of learning to invest in research. The Vice President made the remark when he received a delegation from the University of Lagos UNILAG Alumni Association, led by the National President, John Momoh. He underscored the need for universities to be at the front line of scholarships and intellectual achievements. Referencing the COVID-19 pandemic, the Vice President said considering medical research especially in the light of public health challenges. It was important to put some resources behind research. In the meantime, alleged poor ranking of Nigerian universities in the global space has been blamed on over-politicization, mediocrity, and frequent strike. Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, Professor Suleiman Bogoro, stated that at a workshop for public universities in Lagos, which had vice-chancellors from the southern part of Nigeria in attendance, Bogoro identified all the problems hindering the performance of Nigerian universities as per investment from some arms of government, decaying infrastructure, corruption, poor attitude of lecturers to teaching, low research collaboration, low international linkages, as well as limited financial and physical resources. He said Nigerian universities had to urgently put strong measures in place to better their chances and make them competitive globally. Still in education, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has released the 2021 Senior Secondary School Examination SSCE result and noted an improvement in the number of candidates who got credits in 5 subjects, including mathematics and English language. In a press conference, the head of the Nigerian National Office of the examination body, Patrick Aragan, explained that 1,560,261 candidates sat for the exercise in 5 countries, namely the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. For the breaking down the result, Aragan noted that 1,398,370 candidates, making up 89.62%, had credits and above in at least 5 subjects, with or without English language and mathematics. He said 1,274,784 persons, representing 81.7%, had credits and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics. On legislative matters, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Aliyu NDUME, is again calling for increased funding for the Army. The senator made the call to members of the Appropriations Committee before submitting the final 2022 budget proposal of the Nigerian Army. NDUME said increased funding was critical with the Army engaged in unconventional war across the country. And now to security. A joint team of security operatives led by the Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Mudashiru Abdullahi, have visited the scene of Sunday's kidnapping incident on KADUNA-ABUJA Road to assess the situation on the highway. Bandits had reportedly attacked motorists on the road, killing a top member of the All Progressive Congress in the process and kidnapping an unspecified number of persons during the operations on Sunday. After an assessment of the situation in Karimjama, the police commissioner ordered immediate deployment of 4 armored personnel vehicles and more troops to the highway. He assured motorists plying the road of their safety, describing the recent attack as an isolated incident. Abdullahi also announced that security operatives rescued 11 out of the unspecified number of the kidnapped victims. Away from that, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has arraigned the chairman of Gwagwalada Area Council, Adamu Banzi, for allegedly receiving 10 million naira kickbacks from a contractor handling construction projects in the area council. Danzi was arraigned by the commission before Justice U.P. Kekemeke of the Federal Capital Territory High Court 4 on allegations of corruption bordering on abuse of office and gratification. The ICPC had filed 6 counts before the court in which it accused Danzi of demanding and receiving 10 million naira bribe from the director of a construction firm, Aremu Omotosho, in exchange for approving payment for the construction of a double-cell culvert in Paiko Kore. Away from that, the Lagos State Tribunal inquiry into the collapse of a 21-story building in the IKOYI area of the state says it is awaiting the result of the test conducted on the construction materials. Chairman of the panel, Toyin Ayinde, stated this during a press conference at the Lagos State Waterways Authority Terminal Building, IKOYI. He said the panel had conducted interviews with eyewitnesses and stakeholders and would update the public on its proceedings subsequently. The tribunal, which consists of 6 professionals in the private sector, had been set up by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and began sitting immediately after its inauguration on Thursday, November 4th. In Africa, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says he will now lead his troops from the battlefront as a year-long conflict moves closer to the capital, Addis Ababa. In a statement posted on Twitter, Ahmed urged Ethiopians to rise up in the country's best interests. Government and rebel Tigray People's Liberation Front forces have been engaged in a war that started in Tigray and spread into neighboring Amhara and Afar regions since last November. Reports say Special Envoy from the African Union and the United States have been trying to broker a ceasefire in recent days, scoring little progress so far in the conflict, which has killed thousands of people and rendered millions homeless amid famine. Still in Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has asked South African men to play a greater role in preventing gender-based violence in the country, describing the action as a pandemic caused mostly by men. Ramaphosa's comment follows the release of the latest crime statistics by the police, which indicates an increase in rape cases, domestic violence, and child murders between July and September this year. According to the South African leader, if men will pledge never to rape nor lay a hand on a woman and hold each other accountable, gender-based violence would be a foregone issue. On the foreign scene, Wisconsin's officials will seek to charge a driver, Darrell Brooks, who plowed into a Christmas parade on Sunday with 5 counts of intentional homicide. Police said the 39-year-old Brooks had killed 5 people aged between 52 and 81 and injured 48 others, including young children, in Waukesha. The police said Brooks was fleeing a domestic disturbance when he mowed into the crowd and could face further charges based upon their investigations. Still on the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden's administration says the House Select Committee's investigation into January 6th is needed to understand former President Donald Trump's role in the U.S. Capitol attack. In a court filing, the administration argued that Trump's presidential record should be turned over to Congress. Lawyers from the Justice Department representing the Biden administration, including the National Archives, which holds the Trump-era records, said the House had sufficient reasons to learn what Trump and others knew before the violence. The filing came as Trump tries to overturn a lower court decision and keep the records secret, as the Biden administration said it would not accept executive privilege to protect Trump-era presidential records due to the nature of the Capitol siege. Still to come on the news. England manager SOUTHGATE signs new deal until December 2024. Stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. On a business news, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has disbursed 56.84 billion naira out of the 75 million naira micro, small and medium enterprise survival fund to 835,161 beneficiaries. In her opening remark during the technical session of the 13th meeting of the National Council on Industry, Trade and Investment, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Evelyn Ngige, said the fund was to strengthen the MSME sector. She said 8.8 billion naira was given to 293,336 beneficiaries under the Artisan Support and Transport Scheme. She also noted that 43.9 billion naira was disbursed to 459,334 beneficiaries under the Payroll Support Scheme and 4.1 billion naira to 82,491 beneficiaries under the MSME Grant Scheme. In health, 36 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed in Nigeria in the last 24 hours, putting the country's new total at 213,625.21. Of the new cases are recorded in Lagos, 4 in Kano, 3 each in FCT and Gombe, 2 in Niger, and 1 in each in Bauchi, Plateau, and Rivers. Till date, 206,778 persons have been discharged and 2,974 have died from the virus. In sport, England manager Gareth Southgate has signed a new contract to lead the national side until 2024. Southgate's previous deal was due to expire at the end of the World Cup finals in Qatar in December 2022, but the England boss and his assistant Steve Holland have now signed new contracts through to December 2022. The announcement, which is said to end the speculation surrounding Southgate's immediate future, means he will lead England at Euro 2024 if they qualify for the tournament in Germany. Still in sports, Mauricio Pochettino says he is open to becoming Manchester United manager if they make the move. The Argentine is held in high regard at Old Trafford, but there is reportedly a feeling that it might be difficult to prize him away from the PSG mid-season. However, analysts say Pochettino's potential availability could change that, as a 49-year-old Argentine has admitted his readiness to again manage in the English game. On our entertainment news, report says 1/3 of musicians are still earning nothing after restrictions on live events were lifted after the COVID-19 era. According to the UK charity Help Musicians, the findings are based on a survey of musicians conducted recently. It observed that almost 9 in 10 musicians were earning less than they usually did in 1 month in the post-COVID era, adding that the music industry is one of the last sectors to recover from the pandemic, with 83% of professional singers unable to find regular work. And that's all we have for you at this time. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTV.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 12. I am Francis Edet, saying enjoy the rest of your day.